Welcome to the Marvel Alliance podcast, where we cover anything and everything to do with the Marvel Universe. From the comics, TV, and movies, we will go from Earth 616 to the Mojoverse to the TVA in order to bring the Marvel Universe right to you. I'm the man without fear, Chris.
And I'm the nerd with the mouth, David.
Alliance Assemble,
Assemble.
Volume 248. And yeah, we are recording this on a Wednesday night. But if you think you
Uh,
can see us live on YouTube, you can't, because we're not doing this live. We're pre-recording this because there's a little movie called Captain America: Brave New World that at our usual time of recording, as we talked about last week, I'll be seeing it. David's already been seeing it, and we can't really run this show with just one person. I mean, we could, but I've never done that for a long period of time, and I don't plan to start.
yeah,
So,
it's an interesting and busy week with the way everything is set up, but it's the best way to get that movie fix in.
yep, exactly. And so we got to make sure to cover the content. And, Marvel, as always, says, we're not only going to give you a show, we're going to throw a trailer out there because, release week. Because the big game happened. And as we talked about off air, David, you and I both lost. I'm a Giants fan, so I was rooting for the Eagles to lose. And you are a Chiefs fan, and so you literally lost.
Yeah, it was not pretty at all. Not pretty at all. I don't know if I'm ready to talk about it. I'm still healing from this relationship, and yeah.
I'll tell you what, though, the TikTok memes I've been sharing with you have been epic. I've quite gotten some great laughs out of it.
Yeah, that I will say this, the content on all of it has been just I will give it its due. It's been hilarious. As a Chiefs fan, I'm like, we got there. We got there. Um, our fifth Super Bowl appearance in 6 years, so we're doing it. But man, I wish we would have got that three-peat.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely, I mean, yeah, I have no opinion on it. I'm just, glad I got to see a couple of decent trailers out of it, and one of them we'll be going over tonight. So let us get down to well, first, how's the week been? At least at this point in time, we'll ask the same question in 2 days.
Well, we had a snow day today, so there
Oh,
was
when don't
that.
you have a snow day?
I mean, it's the Midwest, so it happens. I woke up, there was snow, and I'd said last night I was leaving a Board of Education meeting last night when they announced it. Literally the final words that the superintendent said, it was like, as we walk out of here before we adjourn, just letting you all know, school canceled tomorrow.
Yep.
So I knew that school would be canceled, and then I woke up this morning, and I saw snow, and even though kids were out, I was still set to go to work, but I saw that snow and I said, not today. And I stayed home and I continued my Defenders rewatch.
Oh, there we are. I had no such thing as snow days. What we now have is tomorrow will be the third day of cold and rain, and it'll be sunny on Friday, and followed by the entire weekend of cold and rain. So,
Ooh,
yes, not a fun
yeah.
time. We're starting to feel like Seattle here. So, anyways, yeah, the week for right now, as of Wednesday, has been good, busy, and yeah, that's all good. Nothing bad. Everything good. My son. We just at time of recording, we had a busy night because he had his belt test for his taekwondo. So now he is a orange with white belt. So he's getting closer and closer, getting out of the junior taekwondo kids league and heading into adult tigers soon, which is interesting because he's not even a teenager yet, but whatever.
Ooh.
So busy night here. So, but yeah, let us get through the network plug so we start talking about trailers, talking about next 3 episodes of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. We are a part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance network, covering 6 shows with a wide range of geek and nerdom. To see the full schedule, check out the show notes below and subscribe to the Geek Ultimate Alliance network on Twitter so you know when all the shows drop. We also have a Patreon, so if you want to throw a couple of shekels our way, we've got 2 tiers. We've got our dollar tiers, our tip jar to say, hey, we think we're doing a good job. And then our $5 tier with ad-free episodes, early access episodes, and Patreon-exclusive shows. We have 2 shows from Marvel Alliance that we've done. Brent and I did. Our first one was We Can Watch This All Day, the Marvel Alliance Infinity Saga rewatch. 24 episodes covering the entirety of the Infinity Saga. And then Tales from the House of X, where we looked at and re-reviewed our favorite X-Men movies from the Fox era of the franchise. So we want to thank our patrons. We cannot do this without your support because we've also got other back content. We've got continuing the DC Alliance guys are doing the DC films through the years, and Joe's doing his Multiverse Minutes Disney deep dives on the 1st and the 15th of every month. He is dropping a new episode covering Disney animation in chronological order. So in about 3 days on the 15th, day after Valentine's Day, we'll be getting a new episode from him. So check that out. And if you're not a member of our Patreon, totally understand. But if you want to take, if you want to be a member of our Patreon, first go to www.patreon.com/GUA network so you can join it and enjoy all that content. But if you're not a member of Patreon, if you could so kindly take 30 to 90 seconds and rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you get your podcasts, we greatly appreciate it. And last but certainly not least, we want to thank our official sponsor, OrganicPriceBooks.com, for omnibus hardcover collected edition needs. JP and the crew at OPB have got it going on with excellent customer service, immaculate packaging, ships around the world. At the time of recording, we got about 7 days to lock in your pre-order prices for such collected editions as X-Men Blue and Gold, the Mutant Genesis Omnibus, first time ever that collection in print. Spider-Man Gang War Omnibus. I have nothing positive to say about that. Been very clear on my feelings about Zeb Wells on Spider-Man. Like him as a writer, not for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
The Mighty Thor Omnibus Volume 5. The Nam first time ever in collected edition. Ghost Rider Danny Ketch. He was my Ghost Rider. Nothing, just the pure 90s goodness out of that. The second volume of that Omni coming out. And also, got a plug for 11 more days. They're doing their OPB's doing their big 50% off sale. The little show Invincible's come back. You can get all these library hardcover editions, all the volumes, for 50% off. That's a heck of a deal. Young Justice, the first volume of that. Lots of great stuff. So for 50% off, and if you use our code MarvelGUA at checkout to get $2 off every single order, it'll let them know that you're a sponsor. We can use it a unlimited amount of times, and we want to thank them for being our official sponsor. All right, so just a reminder, you're hearing this at our regular drop time on Friday morning. Don't worry, you get a double dose on Friday of us, Marvel Alliance. We are going live on Valentine's Day because you have your significant other. I have my wife. We are terrible, terrible people, and they are very understanding of that fact. That new movies, we have to do this for you, the people. So just understand, I guess we value this on a Valentine's Day more. No, just full transparency. We don't care much about Valentine's Day. We usually try to celebrate on the weekend, but we are going live, covering our spoiler-filled review of Captain America Brave New World at 9:10 Eastern Standard Time. We're going live with that, and the audio will drop Saturday morning. I'm very excited. Despite what the reviews are saying at that point, I'm excited about seeing it, just to see hopefully a good popcorn action movie. That's just really what I want to see at this point.
Yeah, I just want to see a good, solid superhero movie. I said it in our chat. I'm not expecting Civil War. I'm not expecting Infinity War in-game levels of crazy, but I just want to see a good, solid movie, and I can't wait to see it. And in the spirit of my history, you guys have heard when Brent was co-hosting, he would always joke about the fact that I would rush to make sure that I see a movie before him. I will once again be making sure that I see this before him. So keeping the streak alive.
Exactly. You can't let it go at that point, or else he will. I don't know what'll happen. You go into the corner in a fetal position and just suck your thumb and just not rock back and forth.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're excited about seeing that. So again, 9:10 Eastern Standard Time, Friday night. Breaking it all down. Is the overhype real? Is the hype real? We will talk about it all then. So first part of the show, we're going to look at the Thunderbolts asterisk trailer number 2. We knew this was coming as part of the big trailers for the Super Bowl, big game, whatever they want to call it. I don't deal with that nonsense. So I'm excited, and at the end of our trailer review, we're going to show the different posters, of which we now have an official reason explanation of what the asterisk means. Don't get too excited. All right, so let me pull this up. I've got that. So as always, we're not going to be able to. This is going to get complicated a little bit here, because for behind the scenes stuff, forgot to charge my iPad, so I'm going to have to stop this going back and forth. Let's see if it's charged enough where I can do this. Oh, it is. There we go. Gotta love dead air while Chris is not a good charging at devices at that point. But we do what we need to do, right, David?
Yeah, I've done it on many of occasions when it has been in my book bag and maybe the cover of it has slipped and so the iPad's got activated and then I come home and it is dead. So
Yeah. So, but we will make sure to have that. There we go. All right. Now much easier. So much easier now. Once it starts refreshing itself. But yeah, while this loads up for me, what did you think of the trailer overall?
overall, I thought it was a good trailer. It got some nice new scenes, some new vantage points. And I think for the common viewer, for the general audience who doesn't really know what this is all about, some of the scenes that we will get into kind of make you more so feel like it is a quote unquote superhero movie and may drive a little bit more audiences to it. So I'm looking forward to that. There's some recognizable set pieces in here that got me hype, and yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of those where I enjoy most of these characters. I enjoy Yelena probably the best out of the bunch, and just curious to see how exactly this all kind of comes together and kind of fits in the ongoing narrative as we march towards Doomsday and Secret Wars. So, but yeah, so as you see here, the trailer, well, seeing, hearing, whatever, if you watch the trailer with us, we open the trailer in New York City skyline. We can clearly see in the distance Avengers Tower, in which we got last week confirmed in the first trailer that Val, don't think her name, don't even say her name. You can't do it. Also known as the director of the CIA, Val, the CIA is the mysterious new owner of Avengers Tower after all this time. So apparently, Kevin Feige, he told Brandon Davis a year ago that that was always the plan, never wavered. It was always going to be part of the plan. Believe him, don't believe him. It's what he's sticking to.
Yeah.
So we see Val in a congressional hearing where she says the Avengers are not coming. So I think we all kind of figured that at this point, considering how many different world-ending events we've had, and we haven't seen anything of the Avengers.
I mean, and the world at this point knows certain members of the Avengers are dead or off world or things like that. Like that's general knowledge. So to be able
We
to
all
stand
know.
up in front of Congress and say that, it's not far fetched.
Yep, and we all know Steve Rogers is on the moon.
Yeah.
But we also see in this congressional hearing, as either one of the congressmen or senators, Wendell Pierce, who is also he's having a summer at this point because he's going to be looks like he's in Thunderbolts asterisks, and Superman as Perry White. We do not know who he's playing here outside of some sort of congressman or senator. But there are many times in the comics where the Avengers have broken up or have disappeared, and a new team has stepped up. What I do wish, though, I wish that the MCU would have been dropping seeds of what a world without an Avengers is truly like for a bit longer than this has been, because we really haven't seen a world without the Avengers. Like,
Yeah.
it just really hasn't. I mean, what I mean, like what happens in this, and so this is the first movie where we're really dealing with that head on. Like, and what I mean by that is that we don't have a Tony, we don't have Iron Man, we don't know what Thor's doing right now, and Cap's, we will soon see what Cap's doing, So, But yeah, so she's kind of making the statement that, and look over New York City, see this dark cloud over. Well, this is our first look at the Void, who is the arch nemesis of the Sentry, who we're going to get a slightly look from behind, hearing his voice at that point, but we're not seeing the full look of the Sentry. Yep, so there he is right there in the background.
You get the floating shot from over the shoulder.
Yep, as he's voiding out the and I think it's a cool effect, kind of like, kind of like Nightcrawler and bamfing them out of existence into the void.
I like this better than previous incarnations with certain Fox properties with large clouds making things go away. So this is a better take on that.
So for those that don't know, in the comics, the Sentry was once the greatest hero in the Marvel Universe. It's affectionately known as Marvel Superman. But for the good of mankind, he helped to create a forgetting spell that made the world forget about him and made him forget that he was a hero. So in Thunderbolts Asterix, he will be played by Lewis Pullman, who plays the character known as Bob. Now, in the comics, his name is Robert. His name is Bob Reynolds. I think the government or another entity has given him the powers, because in the room where we don't see too much in this room, but in the room where they find him, in the first trailer, we see his costume in one of the boxes.
Yeah, so in the comics, he takes a serum when he becomes the Sentry. So I'm guessing that in here, we're going to get him, this being a governmental project.
Yeah. The Sentry has always had a very difficult time grasping his own sanity, so he's perfect for this group of outcasts. We really don't know who he is, either a government experiment to create the ultimate hero or a corporate mascot that's gone rogue. Like Homelander. That could be very interesting. So like I said, we see the Void voiding out people. We see Val says, who will keep the American people safe? Notice she says American people, meaning she is only going to help Americans, not the world. This will be a team controlled by her and the government because, she's kind of the anti-Fury figure. Fury trusted the heroes a bit more. Val wants to control them and use them to protect America. So, kind of interesting timing for someone like this to pop up.
Yep.
We get a look at Bucky. We don't know necessarily where he stands in this. He's there in the hearing, but where is he in relation to Val or whatever? Is he just keeping watch? So, we see, this narration, there's some big threat out there, and Bucky's saying, you're going to help me stop it. And all these guys, you see, John Walker, U.S. agent, Yelena, looks like we've got Ghost and Red Guardian. Hey, where's Taskmaster? Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Don't know how long that's going to be.
And at this point, they're all tied up. So It looks like he is forcing them to join this group.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, you got some places to be. Yeah. I don't know. I've always been kind of meh. I mean, I on Red Guardian, I mean, he serves his purpose, but thank goodness he's got other people to play off than just one other person, because I don't know if I'd be able. I like David Harbour. I just think this character becomes a little too much at times.
I'm hoping that what we've seen in the trailers is most of the extent of his comic relief. I cannot take it being every 30 seconds to every minute.
Yeah, and I think he's captured all those people under the orders of Val. We see kind of Yelena talk about a number of things. She says that why they're not a good team, because none of them can fly. So what do we all just punch and shoot? This is definitely an acknowledgement of what a lot of people have had trouble with understanding when the team of this was announced a couple of years ago, that you got only one person technically with superpowers. What are they going to do? They're really good at punching and shooting, though.
Yeah.
What's a Val coming up? Says, I can't think of a worse group of people trying to work together. Yeah, she's not wrong. They're all firing at each other. They're not heroes. Even when we see later on, like, U.S. Agent's shield's looking pretty rough.
Yeah, that thing is bent and beat up.
Yeah. And I do love the music in the background from Starship. If you're a fan of the movie Mannequin, that's where that song was made famous at that point. Nothing's gonna stop us now. I'm definitely I'm a child of the '80s. I'm a fan of the song. So we keep on getting little character shots. And we see Elena's been narrating to this prisoner, so we don't know necessarily what she's doing. Maybe she's trying to get that serum that was injected into Bob. Who knows? Crashing into looks like Avengers Tower. And this is where we start seeing our first kind of more one-on-one with the Sentry. We actually hear him, and it's kind of like the voice, kind of gravelly, playing some with the audio. And Bucky's trying to punch him, and he basically rips off Bucky's vibranium arm and tosses him to the side, on top of throwing Guardian out the window, Red Guardian out the window. So who wants to take bet that he's going to be completely fine?
Yeah, I do feel bad for Bucky, though, constantly getting his poor arm ripped off.
Yeah. Looking strong there, John. Looking strong there, Bucky. Anyway, having doubts with it. We see this probably the third act rallying. They're all misfits. They're all D-list heroes at this point. So, but yeah, I'm hoping Pew continues to steal the show in this. I'm a Pew boy through and through. I do like, Red Guardian said, we're gonna call it Thunderbolts. He's like, we can't call ourselves that. I'm hoping. I mean, that's very obvious that this is a post Brave New World movie. That I don't know. Calling it, probably saying Thunderbolts is not necessarily a good thing to be called right now. Yep, still no Taskmaster.
Yep. But we do get a good shot of the not so Avengers Tower anymore.
Yep, not so Avengers Tower. You're getting raised to glory. You get all our title cards. Bring light to darkness. Crane's falling down. Chaos is ensuing in New York. Man, it's tough to be in New York. And he wants the team to be on a Wheaties box with little toys. There was no toys in Wheaties boxes there.
Never.
Guardian never has been a thing. That's not a thing. It's never been a thing. So walking in. So we got Thunderbolts, asterisks. And so, yeah. So, it continues what we already expect from this movie. They obviously have higher hopes for this movie, which is why they are putting it to start off the summer. Let's take a look at these posters. So this was the first poster they put out. Thunderbolts
on the Wheaties box.
On the Wheaties box. Hey, there's Taskmaster. Who's gonna make it out of this movie? Who's gonna be the first one that's gonna be not first one killed? Taskmaster, looking at you like we all are. Now with more Bucky. So, but what was interesting was the international poster. So this is the international poster, not super, not heroes, not giving up, but at the bottom of the poster, it reveals the truth of the asterisks, and it says, the reference is the Avengers are not when the Avengers are not available. That's what the asterisk has been this whole time. Not Dark Avengers, not New Avengers, not Avengers.
Yeah.
The Avengers are not available. Womp womp. Womp womp.
Bringing in the B Squad.
That's just oh, come on, Feige. No. I'm still holding out hope we get like some sort of Dark Avengers or something like that. But it just if that's what it is, you make it sound like a big deal, and the joke doesn't. If that's the joke doesn't land. The joke doesn't work. I'm sorry.
Yeah, at that point it becomes lazy writing.
Yeah, it's just like then just call it the Thunderbolts. It had absolutely nothing to do with it. So I'm hoping that's just a misdirect for what most of us are thinking it's going to be called the Dark Avengers. I don't
Yeah.
know, but if it is, again, womp womp. Not not what it is. So, but yeah, again, nothing that moves the needle too much on me outside of just saying, yeah, I'm looking for, obviously we're seeing it for you, the people, but I'm actually excited to see it just because of, like I said, seeing more of Yelena. Put her with Kate Bishop. I will see that movie definitely a bunch of times too. So, but any final thoughts before we move on to your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man?
No, it's like I said, it's the kickoff to their summer. What, 2 years ago? It was Guardians of the Galaxy in that spot. So
Mhm.
this is the movie that they've chose to make their summer kickoff with. So I'm hoping for good things, but I hope for good things with all movies.
Yep.
Just like you, I am here for everything that I can get from Yelena. I just love her as a character. Florence Pugh is awesome. I want to see what direction they're taking Bucky with this. And as long as Red Guardian isn't comic relief in every 30 seconds, then I'm all fine for it. And I also like the redesign of John Walker. So he looks a lot better in his costume than he did in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah. So, but all right, we're gonna take our our first ad break as we get into Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. So as you know, listeners, these ads help keep the lights on in the Geek Ultimate Alliance network. We don't get to choose what ads come on, and they can be a bit loud. So give it a 3 count before they come on. 3, 2, 1. We'll be right back. And we are back. All right, so 3 more episodes. We'll call this the penultimate arc at that point, because next week it'll be 2 episodes closing out the first season of 3 seasons that have been announced for your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. And I'm just going to say this. I've been so-so on the show. A little bit more last week at that point. Raised it up. This arc, best of all the arcs so far. This by far. And it definitely helped that a certain character made their probably first and only appearance, at least in this season, with it. That really helped, and that's how we'll open the episode. Because when you see the title of the episode 6, Duel with the Devil, and yes, I know they released the fight sequence of this thing because they can't help themselves but ruin the moment that we all waiting for. Because the minute I saw, like, they released a teaser for the episode, and I kind of caught a glimpse of it. It's like, well, I knew he was coming, so it didn't ruin it, but I didn't watch it. I was like, you just can't help yourself. You just can't help yourself to just put the best part of this episode out there and say, like, well, saw everything I needed to see there.
And this is why I always go on my what I call 0 Dark 30. 30 days out from a show, I go on a blackout of it because these studios cannot help but just give that little bit away. And to your point, yes, this was far and away the best arc so far. It was a slow build to the top. We got there, and I'm hoping that they end on a high note going into these final 2 episodes. But these were just 3 very good, very well written episodes with 2 amazing cameos and a lot of stuff to set up the future.
Yeah, so it just a lot of things started coming together, and I think the character arcs and the directions finally just start really clicking for me. And I thought it was solid. Like I said, if knowing that there's going to be a couple more seasons, they have to close out some things. They have to bring us hints towards the future with others. So after fully joining up with the 110 Street Gang in the last episode, Lonnie Lincoln is going through it this time out. He's on probation from school and off the football team. His brother Dre is ticked at him for switched into the gang for him. He reminds him at one point in the episode that saying, I'm supposed to be the screw up. I only had something, and try to get out of your shadow, not the best way, and saying, and yet you take something else from me. And then rats out his brother later on, but
Yeah.
And you and I definitely predicted this is how it was going to go. Something was going to happen that was going to get Lonnie either kicked out of school, run into something else. And as we saw, as soon as we saw the brother in the gang, we knew where this was going.
Yeah, you've got to start his descent into the crime life, and this was the perfect way to do it, okay? He is at the top of his game in more ways than one. On his high school level, he's the most popular guy. He's sports, he's could be headed to the league. He has everything going for him when it comes to his education and his school life. Yes, his home life has its issues, but when it comes to school, he had everything going for him. So to start stripping that away in order to build to where that character is going, it was basically written in the stars for him.
Yeah. So during this time, at that point, we do get a look that Matt Gargan is still around, and he's getting upgraded by Otto Octavius with what kind of suit there is he's getting upgraded with?
He's got his green on. You can see the tail coming in, and we are starting to form the full on Scorpion suit. It's not the full thing. He doesn't have the helmet yet, the full bodiness of it,
Yep.
but he's got the breastplate. He's got the tail, and he's looking pretty nice.
Yeah. So that's kind of the B plot of it where we live. So let's get to the main story of it where we get Peter trying to make up with Nico and trying to get her and Harry Osborn to be friends. He invites them both over for a night of movie and games. Harry's excited. But when he says, like, I kind of fell out of third wheel, I don't want to be like a third wheel again. He says, no, we're going to be fine. I when he comes over, they're watching videotapes at that point, and apparently Harry Osborn has never had raisins before.
Yeah, he thinks May is the best cook in the world for just normal snacks that you would grab out the cupboard.
Yeah. But prior to that, we see Norman getting ready to go to a charity ball to, again, help bring a more relief to Largos, that the Avengers did not do some good work in. And that's where we see, we later find that out, and we'll pause right there. But, that benefit dinner, he encounters none other than Thaddeus Ross. And not only does Norman offer his services and admit saying, hey, Sokovia Kurtz are here, I'll continue to help you all out. But, I'll let you know we've got our own agent we put out in the field named Spider-Man, and kind of gives him the name of his security guard as Spider-Man, as John Gallo or Joe Gallo, whatever he said. And he says, all right, we'll kind of overlook this, but he sees something on his iPad that's like, well, you got to start honing up on your security, because it looks like this is alerting you that you've had a break-in at that point, which kind of embarrasses Norman. And so movie night and game night with Peter Parker gets broken up by Norman because he wants to go check out what's going on and who's been breaking in. And Peter doesn't necessarily like doing that, does he?
No, this is the first real taste of Peter having to balance that personal life with his duties as Spider-Man. So he tries to make an excuse to leave, saying that Norman was calling because he wanted some advice. And when confronted with what advice, it's like, oh, he was thinking about changing the name of the company and he wanted to know what I thought of it. And that's why he had to take a phone call. Yeah, I also found it funny that Norman, when talking to Thunderbolt Ross, was so willing to just do whatever to get that government contract. He's like, I'm willing to help you with the Sokovia Accords. I paid all this money to be here. We've got Spider-Man on our team. I'll help you out in whatever way. Like he's all in on getting that government contract.
Yeah, where's Steve Rogers? Had he gotten it? That's classified.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just points out what later Norman will talk about it. And, Norman's right in some ways, and some ways he's wrong. Peter doesn't lack confidence. It's part of the Parker look at that point. Can't come up with the good excuses. And it's amazing he's been able to keep a secret from Nico this entire time at that point. So he gets in, goes Spider-Man out, gets to Oscorp, and sees someone has broken in, and races, can't get into the system to see what they access, but sees someone running in the background, goes up to the roof, and sees exactly who is there. None other than Daredevil. The devil of Hell's Kitchen is there. all decked out in a very black costume with red accents on it, voiced by Charlie Cox. We've known that since the beginning of the show. And they have a pretty darn good fight at that point. You know, this is the one. This is the dream that you and I and Brent and others have wanted and hope one day we will get to see live action Spider-Man and Daredevil. Not necessarily fighting,
Yeah.
but to see them on screen because they have such a good dynamic in the comics, as we kind of saw in Charles Soule Run. Anyways,
Yeah, they had some good back and forth while they were fighting. Daredevil saying, "Hey, kid, I know you're wanting to do good, but this ain't the way." I did laugh at the line when Spider-Man goes, "Man, you're a really good fighter," and Daredevil goes, "Yeah, you're not," and then
yeah,
just sweeps the leg.
yep. And he said, that's webbing. I said, yeah, you must have saw that. He's like, all these things like kind of hinting at, no, I didn't see it.
Yeah,
But they have a great fight. You know, eventually Daredevil takes him down with his billy club, knocks him out for him to wake up to see that Jay Gall's security guard is holding up the phone, says, you know, Mr. Osborn wants to speak with you. And he's like, yeah, he kind of said that, you know, you're hiding stuff and things like that. He said, I'm almost there. He said, well, I got to get back. And he's like, no, I'm going to be right there. I'm going to reveal everything. So he reveals to Peter that he's been investigating and has figured out who exactly has been selling the tech. And it's none other than one of his former employees, Otto Octavius. And he thinks that Otto's the one who hired Daredevil to break in and do that, which that's not Otto's thing. He's obviously, I don't know if we're going to get Daredevil back this season to reveal exactly what's going on with Otto. The Norman, but I don't think it has anything to do with Otto Octavius. That's not his MO, and he's never been a gun for a hire, anyways.
yeah. He had no tech. He was fighting with a billy club, and the sound that the billy club was making, it was obviously one of his older wooden ones. So there was no tech involved, just Daredevil being Daredevil. So there is no correlation to him and Otto. It doesn't make sense for those two to be working together.
Yeah. So they say like, well, maybe he can track the signature of Otto's tech to maybe get back to it. But while he's fighting, Harry is trying to bond with Nico, and this doesn't work, and he accidentally reveals the secret of who that Peter's Spider-Man, because he thinks that Nico actually knows. And so when Peter comes back, Nico basically kind of just shoves it in Peter's face, that's saying, you've been hiding this from me. She thinks he told Harry over her, and so she's ticked as all get out. But then we see like kind of Lonnie out and about, and then he's getting tracked by the second in command of the Scorpions, and he ends up hiding out with 110. And that's where we leave the episode.
Yeah.
So not a bad episode overall. You know, a little bit of Charlie Cox action. You know, can't go wrong with Daredevil.
Not bad at all. There were some good, very good moments in this. Again, each of these has a cameo that just filled me with joy. Seeing Daredevil, seeing Thunderbolt Ross, and the build up to, okay, so now Nico knows the secret. That's one more. How is Peter going to balance this? Again, overall good episode that really set up going into the next.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those where, geez, how many people are going to find out the secret before everyone knows? But yeah, so next episode 7, Scorpion Rising. So things start off with Nico still ticked at Peter for not telling her that he's Spider-Man, and for prioritizing Harry over her. While Pearl is basically lost, you know, complete respect for Lonnie. He's been, like I said, he's been put on probation, kicked off the team, and you know, she's just done and over with everything. And then she gets a text from Lonnie's brother giving her the real scoop of what's going on. Meanwhile, Peter and Norman are trying to figure out what Otto Octavius has been up to, and they kind of go back and forth saying, you know, well, he got plutonium. He's like, nah, I wouldn't get that. What about tritium? Nah, I wouldn't have the ability to get tritium. And then he says solar power, and he makes a sign. I doubt he's managed to harness the power of the sun. So we got two Spider-Man 2 references in a row with tritium and that line.
Oh,
it was-
the way that he delivered that line was just magnificent.
oh yeah,
I loved it, and I popped for that.
yep, that was good. As soon as I heard Tritium, I was like, oh, and then I heard that, I was, oh, I love it. And it turns out Doc Ock, they found out he has been using gamma radiation, which will come into play a little bit later in this episode. So, meanwhile, Harry is trying to apologize to Nico, and basically he says, can you want to follow me? He notices that she's hungry, and takes her to kind of this parking garage with pizza, and he tries to hash it out with her. She's not really having it, and kind of one thing leads to another, and he ends up kind of giving her driving lessons in his very expensive race car, of which they go on a street race, and as well as a street race against a character named Hot Rod, who drives a hot rod. It does not seem to be a transformer of the same name,
but she's not even the best cameo or Easter egg from that scene. My man
yeah,
Clev
Clev's
comes
back
back.
again. Goodness gracious! They're trying to make Clev a thing. I mean, I'm glad for the actor. It's just like I didn't realize there was such a demand for having this character appear in just anything.
Clev is back. He's recording. Yo, it's your man Clev. I'm just out here. He's like,
Clev
but
TV,
I
apparently.
had to come live for you. And yeah, he's recording the street race. I'm like,
Yeah.
he got the Shang-Chi footage on the bus. He got the street chase. He told Spider-Man to do the flip. Like, my man Clev is just right place, right time.
Yeah, I guess. So they do the race somehow. We go all fast and furious at that point with, putting their version of Nas, and are able to beat Hot Rod and settle their beef. Even I guess they're trying to make them have a romantic thing.
Yeah,
Maybe.
they have a little bit of a moment.
Yeah. So back to the main plot. Pearl's able to track down Lonnie at the 110th warehouse, but just the wrong time. Mac Gargan shows up, busts it all in his scorpion outfit, and rips the whole gang to shreds. And that's when Spider-Man's also been tracking Mac thanks to his gamma signature, and fights him in the warehouse. Now, as he's getting fighting, he's looking for Norman to have some advice. But Norman's too distracted about using the signature to find Otto, and his advice is just not really there. And Peter suffers because of it.
Yeah, at one point he takes, as they're fighting, and Peter thinks he's got things wrapped up, but Scorpion isn't down. Norman takes his earpiece out, and Spider-Man starts catching hands, and he's yelling for help and guidance, and Norman's too busy trying to track down Otto Octavius.
Yeah, and so he's getting his butt handed to him. Even he's able to puncture the suit with the scorpion tail, which Norman's very surprised about, because I don't know if he was meaning it was supposed to be invulnerable, but he was kind of surprised it was able to puncture it. And until Norman gets back and realizes what's going on, Peter is about to basically be killed by it. And I was kind of impressed that the show kind of went this way of like being this kind of serious. And you hear this kind of sound in the background. So, I was about to say, are we going to get him suiting up? Are we going to get him suiting up? No, we don't get Norman suiting up in any sort of costume yet. He just sends the glider of what we all know is going to be him eventually becoming the Green Goblin. But we do see the glider that saves him. And Gargan just loses complete control. And at one point when Peter thinks he's got him down, all webbed up, he just basically gets all gammed out, and it's definitely injured him in the sense of burning his skin to try to break out. But as Peter is rescued by the glider, like Gargan just destroys the warehouse, and it's kind of how we end that episode.
Yeah, it was a cool moment with the glider. I also thought, I didn't think that he would be full costumed up, but I did think that he would at least be flying the glider himself. I thought maybe he would still be in his suit. We'd get the glider, but not the goblin costume, and he'd still be suited up and come in. But we still at least got the glider. We all know where that's headed. The Spider-Man lore is there, so that was a super cool moment for that. Peter just doing his best to climb up on it and get out of there while he can. As again, Scorpion's freaking out, and the gamma energy, it's burning the suit onto him. So it's
Yeah.
getting to the point where he's not going to be able to take that Scorpion costume off.
Yep, exactly. So, all right, we're going to take our final ad break before we go into the final episode of our discussion tonight. So, as you know, listeners, these ads help keep the lights on the Geek Ultimate Alliance network. We don't get to choose what ads come on, and they can be a bit loud. Give it a 3 count before they come on. 3, 2, 1. We'll be right back. And we are back. So, final episode of this arc, episode 8, Tangled Web. You know, in the opening credits, they always do that final title card at this point. This one is an homage to the Spider-Man cover where it said Spider-Man No More, with him walking away from his costume being thrown, even though that has really nothing to do with the episode. It kind of hints at that idea, but
Yeah.
you know, I kind of saw where they were going. So after Spider-Man's big defeat by Scorpion, you know, he's bruised and battered. He's kind of going in and out of conscious. Doctors all around him, patching him up. But I did notice this thing that happened during it, and blinkage if you miss it, they did take Peter's blood.
They lingered on that slow
Yep.
draw of the blood. I'm like, ooh, how is this going to come into play later?
You know, that's probably gonna be maybe what turns Normie into a little green goblin, because he's gonna
Yeah.
be messing with that blood in order to try to replicate it. So
Scientists can't resist being able to access that blood.
But yeah, so he wakes up, he sees Norman there, and he's just like, you know, you need to rest. You know, you're not ready for this. The suit's damaged beyond repair, and he's just like, you're not ready for this, kid. You know, you're pulling your punches. You're not. You need to take a break for a bit. You know, we're done for a while. And so he does run into his intern group where he finds out, and he kind of got hints of this when all three of them were at Peter's house together. That is Dr. Connors to let him know that his calculations have been really paying off. And we really see it that, you know, Dr. Connors has made her own version of an arc reactor, and they're even turning Oscorp into a zoo. You know, we get Lizard incoming, but Peter's done some good work for the group. Even his intern supervisor is very impressed with how much, you know, his calculations have really panned out. So, you know, seeing a little bit of success is always good to occasionally see Peter like that, right?
Yeah, he even gets half a compliment from Amadeus Cho.
Yeah. But meanwhile, we we did find out last episode where Norman found out where Otto is, and you know, we get this little back and forth with Otto and his little helper, aka Leapfrog, you know, trying to check up on him and things like that. And the feds come in and break in, and Otto basically has one of his future Dr. Octopus arms manhandling him at that point, and you see kind of the music there. I think in this sequence, I told our good friend Travis Hines when he was making comments on the episode, I said, you know, Otto was channeling his inner Justin Hammer during the sequence, like just like walking in, grooving through it at that point, having a good old time, didn't even break a sweat. That's what I was kind of thinking as good old Justin Hammer. I like that.
The cops have to be very careful about the words that they use, you know, when like put your arms up, and they kept repeating it. I'm like, I know where this is going, and he gave that little smirk and activated.
Yep. And so he thinks he's escaped, but there they are waiting for him, and including they get a little backup with our first appearance in this show of Iron Man. It seems to be kind of a chilly recognition of him and Thaddeus Ross. Like they're just kind of tolerating each other right now as a result of what happened in Germany.
Yeah, you can tell again, Iron Man is on the side of the government when it comes to the Sokovia Accords and what's going on. So he is helping the government capture and not on the side of those who are running away and fugitives. So we've got the nod to Steve Rogers being missing and being on the run, and now we've seen Iron Man helping the government.
And the costume itself, it's definitely, you know, comic-wise, it's still an early version comic wise of the costume. It's not like how it was in Civil War either. So it's rather interesting they chose that design for Iron Man as one of the early marks.
Yeah.
So, Peter's having nightmares as he's resting, recovering at home, and things are getting complicated. With a study session with Pearl, and Lonnie comes over and she reveals that she knows what's going on. Obviously she knows what's going on because she went over there and saw at that point. Peter tries to convince Lonnie he needs to get out of this, and he basically warns them both, saying, "Just stay away from me. I got to do this thing for me. I don't need you all anymore." And not knowing what to do next, Peter goes back to Norman, and Norman's and Harry's just like, "Oh, we're so happy that you're feeling better." And he kicks Harry out, and he's like, "I'm ready to come back. I can be a hero. I can do this." And Norman says, "You know why Scorpion beat you? It's like you pull your punches. Like
Yeah.
you try to be the good, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, but your enemies aren't going to pull their punches." And he kind of makes a modification line, with great power comes great respect. He's basically telling Peter, in order for people he basically wants them to fear. He calls it respect. He wants them to be feared. And
Yeah.
he said, like, you're going to have all this power. You've got to be powerful back. You can't pull your punches. You've got to, do what you need to do. And until you're ready to do that, I can't really see myself working with you anymore. And so he says, go hang out with Harry, continue to recover, and maybe when you're ready, we can get back to doing what this is. And he has a conversation with Harry, and he's just like, my dad doesn't get to tell you what to do with a hero. You have these powers. You get to do what you want. And Harry tells him that, I've been working with the scientists, and I know your old suit's been destroyed, so I got him working on a new suit for you based on kind of your designs. And we kind of see the red as it opens up in the background. We see kind of things, finally
Yeah.
we get the actual suit. And I know that's how the episode closes, but in the meantime, we get the 110th Street gang working, getting some information on where Otto is, even though Otto ain't there anymore, so I don't know what they're going to wander into at that point. It seems kind of weird, but
I thought the same thing when we're introduced, or we are reintroduced to
Yep.
Dimitri, who is now in his full chameleon getup. He has on the gloves, he has on the mask.
Yeah.
And
We don't know what he's doing with it right now. He doesn't have any
Yeah.
kind of powers, but yeah, he's just masked up.
he mentions that his face has become a little bit too recognizable right now from the prison escape. And they throw him a bag of chump change, as it sounds, because even though that bag was big, he shakes it, and that's mostly laundry coins in
And you
exchange
know
for
what?
information.
I think there's a few notes in there, a few post-it notes that's as good as money. Those are IOUs. So want to hold on to those.
Yeah, the cash those in later.
Yep, cash those in later. A couple of
post-
coupons in there, a couple of coupons,
A post-dated check or two. Please wait till Friday.
until Friday. A couple of Fridays from now.
Yeah, so
But that I'm glad you were the only one. It's like where they're gonna go into it and find either an empty warehouse or all be arrested. So it's just like you find out.
the cops are going to still be there cleaning up and bagging and tagging what's left in this, and you're just going to roll up on it.
Yeah, and we do see some infighting amongst the gang that people are still on Big D's side, other people want to do it. So here's at least my going theory right now. There's already getting ready to be some rife in the gang. Some people are turning on Big D, some people aren't. This is the time for Tombstone to step in at that point, because I think for what used to be people looking in him as a joke, yeah, he's kind of made a name for himself in the gang enough that he probably could start either making a play, or if Big D's taken down, yeah, he gonna take over that gang.
Because Bulldozer made a face when Chameleon was like, yeah, thank you, Dom, thank you, Tombstone, thank you, other guys. And Bulldozer was like, whoa, I don't get any recognition. I'm right
Yeah,
here.
you're nothing. You're nothing, man. So, but yeah, that's how we close out this this arc of it. Like I said, right now, of the 3 arcs that's been presented to us, this is my favorite. This definitely has a pent ultimate arc, but it had a lot of great stuff going on. Didn't hurt that it didn't hurt that it had Daredevil in it. But I think all in all, every one of these episodes was altogether great. Very, very
Yeah.
good. Very solid thing. Best of the series for me right now.
Yeah, my only gripe with this final episode is as much as I love the ending, the reflection of the red suit in his glasses and everything else, I wish they would not have used the "Go Get 'Em Tiger" line.
Yeah, I
I
forgot
I
about that. Yeah,
I get the cheap pop, but it coming from Harry, like you could have just lingered on the reflection of the costume and us knowing that that's where we're going next. You didn't need the "Go Get 'Em Tiger" line.
yeah,
That
that's
was
a Mary.
just
That's a Mary Jane thing. Let's keep it like
yeah.
that. It's one of those things that it's been so synonymous with Mary Jane. People say, "Well, you didn't have a problem with Norman saying it." I said, "Yeah, but like it worked for Norman just because of who he is, and he had a modification of it. He didn't just say the line. It would not. I think you and I would have a big problem with him saying, "With great power comes great responsibility." It worked with Norman because he said, "With great power comes great respect." That's what
Yeah,
Norman is.
the
Norman values power.
the respect fit his character and everything that we've seen from his character comic book wise and in universe for this show that fit for him. But the "Go Get Him Tiger" was just, it was out of nowhere. It felt like it was used for a cheap pop, and I was just like, it kind of comic book sacrilege to use that for anyone other than Mary Jane.
Yeah. So, but yeah. I like I said, we got 2 episodes next week, so we'll see if they can kind of stick the landing on the season. I think, knowing that there's again 2 more seasons ahead of us at this point, they can do a little bit there. So far, like I said, it's just an okay show. It's still an okay show to me. But all right, well, we had a lot to talk about this week. No, we're not doing questions this week. Just because of all the amount of work David and I got to do to prep for this week. At that point, we're going to take a break for that, as we talked about. Comic Book Club, Factor Fictions, they're both taking a break for this week. We will return next week with all that coming back. So again, if you're doing your homework, you got another week to read Daredevil by Charles Soule, issues 10 through 14. So it'll be good timing because we'll probably be, if everything's supposed to work out, hopefully at least halfway through the arc by the time Daredevil premieres. So yeah, so it'll be good timing. So but yeah, so great episode again. Just reminding you, we'll be going live on Friday at 9:10 Eastern Standard Time for our Captain America: Brave New World review. David, tell people how they can follow you.
Oh, you can follow me on all socials at The Phantom, and you can follow me here on the Geekverse Network on my other show, The Gimmick, with my co-hosts S-Bubs and Travis Snell, talking all things wrestling related.
Yeah, I know. I check it out. So give definitely that show a watch. It's a lot of fun, and you don't even have to be watching enough of it. I watch enough of the clips that I see on TikTok and things like that. That way, when I watch your show, I said I kind of know what everything that happened. So it's good to see that analysis. So. But yeah, as always, want to plug our sponsor, organicpricebooks.com. Use that code MarvelGUA at checkout to get $2 off every single order. You can follow me on Twitter at Chris Balga. You can follow me on all the other socials similarly. At that point, you can also check me out every Saturday at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on the Brave and the Boys YouTube channel for the Organic Price Books Weekly Buyer's Guide with my other co-hosts, Jordan and Jake and Jordan. And you can email the show at marvelalliancepodcast@gmail.com. You can follow the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network on Twitter at GUA Pod Network. Feel free to tweet, email for provide feedback, ask questions. DMs are open. As always, we'll mention this on Friday night. If you have any kind of Captain America, Brave New World kind of questions you want to prep for next week, feedback or anything, DM David and I about those. Do not post it in there. We're going to do the kind of the spoiler kind of thing. We're going to go 2 weekends before spoilers are going to be free and open at that point. So wait till we see it on Thursday before you start DMing us some stuff, please.
Yes. Even though I'm seeing it early, still wait. I do know some information has gone out on the internet. I am still in my avoidance for
Same
the
here.
next day.
I know the end credits has leaked, but I thankfully my mute game is strong. I have been taught by some of the best in the business at that point. So, but don't be that person to ruin it, you know. So, but yeah, I would say thank you for joining us live in the chat, but there was no live chat, so thank you all for listening. Thank you all for doing that, continuing to be with us, and stay safe out there, everyone. And as Stan the Man would say, Excelsior, true believers. All right, David. Post credits discussion this week. We sometimes Brent and I kind of started this. There's very rarely do the post credits not align in some way. Sometimes directly, sometimes tangentially, sometimes if you look at it the right way, Marvel related at this point. We're going to give our thoughts on the opening episodes of Invincible. Why can we talk about Invincible? Because we will always point back up that there was a crossover between Ultimate Spider-Man and Invincible in between panels at that point. And last season, they did a quick little tease and homage to that idea. I know we all were thinking, oh, they're finally going to do it. They're finally going to. Nah, I had no. I was the one saying, nah. I know, but they're gonna have the voice of Spider-Man. Yeah, they're gonna be a wink and the nod, but it ain't gonna be that. But that's why we talk about this. If you want to check out a full breakdown of the first 3 episodes, please check out a walk through the multiverse with Joe and joined by Travis Hines at that point. Their recent episode of breaking down the first 3 episodes about that. So again, check out a walk through the multiverse, making sure that we always plug our friends over there at that point. So what did you think about the first 3 episodes?
I thought the first 3 episodes were a good start. Episode 3 came out a little good with some of the fight scenes that were in there. Just it had some jokes that made me laugh. I like Rex Exploder as a character, so he always makes me laugh. And so this scene with them and the Declaration of Independence was pretty cool for me. And episode 2, the kind of throwback, building up the world for that one was a good one. And then ending with episode 3, which gave me the whole Batman and Robin feels. So I thought it was overall very good, and I'm excited to continue to build up on this.
Yeah, the first 3 episodes. I've read Invincible. I'm literally looking at my Ultimate collection of the 12 hardbacks at this point, and I've read it 3 or 4 times already. So I kind of know what's going on, and it's one of those people who say, should I read it, should I or just go and think. I think, if you've never read the comics, I kind of agree with what our buddy Travis Snell's doing, not reading the comics until the series is done and kind of then doing it to not to ruin anything. So I think that's a great idea to do. But seeing how it opens, where we've got the breakup, looks to be the final breakup of Mark and Cecil. He's just crossed too many lines for him. That was great, ripped from the pages. Did a great job with that portrayal of the change in the suit. I like seeing the growing up of Oliver, kind of joining into this at this point, and kind of the hints towards what's going on for the future of this. We get. I love what Invincible does with their kind of post-credit scenes. Sometimes goes really long, and I'm kind of impressed by sometimes these post-credits are seems like, we didn't know where to put this, so we decided to kind of put it here. I think all in all, I'm glad we're finally, Mark and Eve are finally together. We're finally, will they or won't they? They're finally together at that point. I agree that opening sequence of that 3rd episode kind of had vibes of The Last of Us with that. I think that's what they were trying to also go for, with that kind of silent between the 2 villains. I think this was a solid opening. Was it the best opening of the series? No, I don't think so, but I think it was a good 3 episodes. I'm glad there's not going to be any breaks. I am waiting with anticipation, as I know our friends Joe and Travis Hines are waiting for, of who is coming in this season. Not saying we have any confirmation, but as knowing what we do know about the comics, something big's coming this season, and Mark's world is about to get rocked hard. So,
Yeah. I
but
said
yeah,
it's a good setup, and I'm happy for it, and I can't wait to see. Like I said, there's no breaks because man, that break last time was a long one.
yeah, unnecessary. But yeah, check out a walk through the multiverse for a full breakdown. We're excited. We'll probably revisit this at the end of the season. But yeah, we're excited. It's gonna be a good season at that point. But we will see you all. If you're listening to this on Friday, we'll see you in a couple of hours at that
Yeah.
point, and we look forward to it. And for those of you watching, hope it we'll be chatting you with soon, and we'll talk to you later. Bye bye.